a lot of on not only social media, but in the media itself about how Tim Walz is stolen valor and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to sort of give you the honest, unbiased perspective from a retired soldier on all the controversy going on with Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. So I'm going to say first and foremost, it's not stolen valor. Okay, nothing that he's claimed would be classified as stolen valor. However, he's lied about several things, and he's sort of misrepresented a couple of things. So first, I want to talk about the rank thing. The military, especially in the specifically in the senior enlisted and officer ranks, there's a process for determining rank at retirement. In the Army, I retired as an E8 first sergeant, but I could have retired as an E8 master sergeant. Had I not done at least 2 years as a first sergeant, I would not have, even if I did first sergeant time, I would only have qualified to retire as a master sergeant. Because there are things that you have to do, there are certain positions you have to serve in, there's certain training you have to take in order to qualify as a first sergeant, even though you kind of go back and forth between first sergeant and master sergeant. Just like at the E9 level, you go back and forth between sergeant major and command sergeant major. So a master sergeant and a sergeant major are both staff positions, and a command sergeant major and a first sergeant are command positions. They're leadership positions. And Walz did serve and was promoted to E9 or sergeant major, or command sergeant major. So he did hold that rank. Now, whenever you get promoted, you have to promise the military a certain amount, especially the senior levels. You have to promise the military a certain amount of additional service, because when they promote you, they send you to additional leadership training. A lot of that training converts into like degrees that are good for other functions or for outside the world. Money to promote you at the senior level, they want to make sure they're going to get that value out of you. So when he got promoted to sergeant major, he was required to do several things. First, he had to serve in that position for a certain amount of time, and then he had to also complete certain training and coursework in order to maintain that rank. Well, he ended up retiring before he completed all of that. So he didn't lie about being a command sergeant major. His DD-214 had to be corrected, because when he retired, he was wearing command sergeant major rank, but he wasn't qualified to keep it once he retired. So that's not stolen valor. That's just like it's just regulatory stuff in the Army. And so that's the whole rank thing. It's not something anybody should be concerned about. And I really wish these conservative pundits and pundits on the right would stop talking about stolen valor. That's not stolen valor. Then there's the thing about his gun control stance and a statement that he made where he carried so-called weapons of war in war. Okay, that's false. He's never been deployed to a combat zone, ever. He was deployed to Italy. That's what he did. He was deployed to Italy, probably as a liaison between some higher command, his command, but he never served in combat. He was never in war, unlike he said. Now, that's not stolen valor to say I was in war, but it's just a bald-faced lie. Unlike the rank thing, which is easily explained, and it's just kind of a misrepresentation. For example, I heard Kamala Harris mention at her rally that, to those of you in the military, it's Sergeant Major Walz. No, actually, it's not. It's not. It's Master Sergeant Walz. He does not have that rank. He did not earn that rank. He was promoted to that rank for a brief time, but he did not earn it because he did not complete the requirements and the time in grade, they call it, TIG, the time in grade, in order to be called a sergeant major once he retired. And that's why his DD-214 was changed from Sergeant Major to Master Sergeant, E8, which is the same rank that I retired as, one below the highest rank in the enlisted ranks. But he retired as a Master Sergeant. I retired as a First Sergeant because I completed all of the requirements in a command position, leading troops, and being able to retire as a First Sergeant. So, but the fact that he says he carried, first of all, nobody, not a single soldier in the entire United States military has ever carried an AR-15 into combat. Just hasn't happened. That's not what we use. We don't use AR-15s. We use M4s, we use M16. I don't even think we use M16s anymore. I think those have all been phased out. But it's either an M4 or an M16. That's what everybody carries, not an AR-15. So he lied about the fact that he even carried an AR-15 in war, and he lied about the fact that he was in war at all. The other thing is, it makes me wonder what kind of a leader he is. Now, the National Guard, you know, when he sits there and says that I served 25 years in the military, okay, that's 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. That's how the National Guard works. For 25 years, he served in the military 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks out of the year. He might have done some active duty time in the National Guard, but not complete 25 years straight of active duty service. Okay, so for 25 years, 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the year, he wore the uniform. So there's just a lot of, I just wanted to make sure that people who don't understand how the military works, as someone who is a retired military, I wanted you to understand the truth about that, and why I say, what kind of a leader was he? Because how do you make it to Command Sergeant Major in the military, any military, whether it's active duty, reserves, or National Guard, and your highest medal is an ARCOM, an Army Commendation Medal? What kind of piss poor leader are you that you attain the highest rank in the enlisted side of the Army, and your highest medal is an Army Commendation Medal? This is the medal they give to like an E5 just for moving, just for doing 3 years at a duty assignment and then moving to another duty assignment. As long as you didn't get somebody killed, and as long as you didn't get an Article 15, and shoot, sometimes even if you got an Article 15, as just an E5 sergeant, or sometimes even a specialist, you're leaving with an Army Commendation Medal. If you win the Soldier or Insteel of the Quarter, sometimes you're getting an Army Commendation Medal. And yet that's this guy, this is Tim Walz's highest award for a guy who's attained 25 years in the military. I was an E6 when I got my first Meritorious Service Medal, MSM, which is higher than an ARCOM. I was an E6, a staff sergeant, when I got my first MSM. But, so that just kind of tells me what kind of bad leader he is. And of course, his soldiers, his units are talking about him and, you know, being a piss poor leader and all that. But all you got to do is just look at his records, and you can see that he couldn't have been a good leader if his highest award is an Army Commendation Medal. So those are 3 things I wanted to talk about, because there's a lot of misinformation out there in the media on both sides, the left and right, about his career. And anytime you hear someone saying, oh, it's stolen valor, it's not stolen valor. At no point has he engaged in at least the statutory definition of stolen valor. He's just an idiot. He's padded his resume a little bit, made it sound like he's done things he hasn't, but that's not stolen valor. That's just a guy who's lying to get himself elected. So that's it. And you guys take care, be safe, be free, and I will talk to y'all next time. There's a little puppy out there running around the road. He's going to get himself killed. All right, y'all take care. Be